Hello again YouTube, and welcome back to Just Get a Tesla. And on today's video we are going to do a bit of efficiency testing, because on the way down to this supercharger here in Aberdeen, where I'm currently recording this, I got a mind-blowing efficiency number. It's 13 degrees, it's raining, I've done 40 miles of mixed use, and I've got 211 watt hours per mile consumption, which is absurd. This car is super efficient. Let's see just how far it can go. Okay, I am charged to 80%. I've just unplugged. The car is on 211.7. I don't understand why the decimal place is shown on the screen anymore, but it is 211.7 watt hours per mile on the 40 miles that I've done so far. We're going to drive home. It's blatting down here at the Tesla Centre Aberdeen, but hey, it doesn't matter. This car is doing some voodoo stuff with range. Let's go and see how we can do. But before we do, actually, we probably need to talk about what it's showing in terms of projected range. This is the 100-mile average, and I'm on the energy use chart, which is the little green thing here. If you haven't seen that, if you go into the app drawer, it's the energy one. Anyway, this is showing on the 100-mile average 264 miles are projected, or on the 200 miles 264 miles projected, and as you can see I've done 300, so this is pretty consistent. And 264 on 80% is 330 miles on 100%. Okay, that is pretty clearly less than the advertised range, either on EPA, which is what Tesla think, or on the WLTP. But they have now changed the mileage number up here, so it is giving you now an average, and it's pretty accurate. So in the past we'd say don't look at this because this is going to be wrong, but actually now I think it's pretty decent. But look, you can see there 235 watt hours per mile over the last 100 miles. One more thing to show you just as we set off. I'm sat in the car has powered itself on. And by the way, I am sat at a supercharger, not plugged in, but there are numerous empty bays, so don't worry about it. And I'm about to shift, so it's fine. But look, we are showing here, I have got no stalk anymore on this side to be able to select drive mode, but I'm sat in the car and the car is ready to go. And look, tap to activate drive. So all I need to do is put my foot on the brake, yeah, and now press the throttle to drive. That's it. So the whole, you got to swipe backwards and forwards on the screen. It's intuitive. It knows that I can't go backwards, because when you go onto the rear camera, look, yeah, it knows that I can only go forward. So it automatically selects the direction of travel. And in my testing, it's been uncanny the way that it's been doing that. It really does know where we're going. And in this case, we're going forwards. It's been great. It really has been. The swipe to drive thing on the screen is not a problem. I think, by the way, that car over there, TXC, I think that's the one that I tested when I first had a Model Y overnight. So that's still here for test drives. If you want to test drive a Model Y Juniper and see for yourself, then go onto Tesla and get it booked. Honestly, you really are going to be impressed by it. So we are now setting off. And again, the battery has just been supercharged up to 80%. That means that it is going to be a little bit warmer than it was before. I no longer have Test Logic on this car. It's coming, but it hasn't been sent yet. The new one, the all new Test Logic app that they've got. So I can't tell you the battery temperature because I don't have that app at the moment, but it'll be toasty warm, and that means for good performance. But at the same time, we're also setting off, and I'm looking down at the screen and it's showing me on 0.1 miles since charge, it's showing me that we have done 923 watt hours per mile, and that is all going to be heating. But I'm at the top of a hill and I'm doing 20 miles an hour through these roadworks. That is going to collapse down to almost nothing by the time we're going through the city centre. This is probably a bit of a stress test in terms of range and efficiency, because of the fact that it is 13 degrees and it's wet, right? All right, 13 degrees is better than 6 degrees, but 13 degrees and wet means that it's going to be quite humid, despite the fact that it's relatively cool, and that makes for denser air, and that makes for more resistance as you're chopping through it, which makes for more power being burned. At least that is the theory. So we're now coming out of the roadworks into a 40 limit. We've got a roundabout down here. My efficiency, you can't see it, but I can, has already dropped to 348 watt hours per mile. I'm guessing that by the time we get down towards Aberdeen Harbour, it's going to be, well, let's put it like this. I'm expecting that it's going to have a 1 on the front of the number. By the way, I said that we would be getting down to the bottom and we would have a 1 on the efficiency, and we do already. We have a 1 on the efficiency since we set off. It's 11. We've done 11 watt hours per mile so far in the mile. And okay, it's downhill, but yeah, it's a bit silly. Genuinely, I don't know what they've done to efficiency in this car, but it's hard to describe. I'm hoping that the quiet can be picked up on the microphone. I'm sat here with cars all around me, and all I can hear is a little bit of fan noise and the rain and the wipers. I can't hear anything else. It really is a dreich day. I mean, it's absolutely bouncing down. But never mind. That's a good test of how we're doing. I'm just staying out of the way of this junction because you can't sit on a yellow box just in case anything stops as we go up here. And this is what I like about Aberdeen, okay? So you have got the shopping mall on the left hand side, and on the right hand side you've got a massive great big ship which is docked at the harbour side. How many cities are there where you have got the port literally across the road from the shops, and that's the bus station that we've just gone past, and the train station is behind this. Aberdeen is a fabulous city. Anyway, I said we would get down to the harbour and we would be on a number starting with a 1. We're not. It starts with a 9. 94 watt hours per mile in the 3 miles since we left the supercharger. 94. That's going to go up, clearly. However, my total trip average in the now 43 miles since I left home this morning is 204 watt hours per mile. 204, and it involves city driving in these conditions, fast dual carriageways, fast country roads. 204 in these conditions. It's just daft. I don't know what on earth is going on with efficiency on this car, but they have done something to it that's practically voodoo. I honestly can't understand how they've made it this efficient, but they have. As you can see, conditions have not got any better. So we are now heading north out of Aberdeen, and well, it's absolutely lashing down. The road is much wetter than it was on the way down, and okay, so efficiency is a little higher than it was. So at the moment we are doing, and this is 10 miles now since the supercharger, 255 watt hours per mile. So the trip for there and the back, which is now on 50 miles, is showing 220 watt hours per mile. Okay, so we're burning a little bit more, but that is not to be unexpected. Looking at the conditions, 14 degrees, lashing down with rain, quite humid. It's going to be like that, but 255, and it keeps dropping, by the way. I mean, it goes up a little bit and then drops. You can't see it on camera because I'm pointing the camera forward, but it does keep dropping. For some bizarre reason, at the moment, on the software, on this Model Y Juniper, you have a choice of either cruise control or autopilot. On my previous car, you had a double press on the stalk. So the first press switched on cruise control, the second press turned on autopilot. What did that mean? Well, it meant that when you're driving along like this on autopilot and you need to change lanes, although auto steer disengages, cruise control is maintained. So I'm now passing this Mini who can't decide on what speed that he's doing. He's speeding up, he's slowing down, or whatever. But anyway, we are on autopilot at 65 miles an hour. And as I indicate left and then I break the steering lock, it disengages autopilot. But because there is no cruise control now as the level below it, it means that I've got to cover the throttle with my foot. What were Tesla thinking when they decided that that was the right approach? Because it really isn't. Autopilot, base autopilot, was less functional as it is than Volvo Pilot Assist or some of the other systems out there. I get it in the comments quite a lot with people saying, do you know that Tesla Autopilot isn't as good as Volkswagen's system, as an example. Now, I haven't used Volkswagen's system since the Cupra Leon that I drove almost a year ago, and I thought that system was absolutely god-awful, but to be fair, that was a petrol engine, but it's the same assistance system, I believe. Anyway, they say it's better. Previously, autopilot, at least when you change lanes, you maintained cruise control. Now, you do not. So, a direct appeal to Elon Musk, now that you're focused on Tesla again. What are your guys doing? Why on earth have you taken that off? I'm sure you're very focused on rolling out a robo-taxi service in one city, in one state, in one country, right? The rest of the world, we're stuck with this, and it's just not good enough. Please sort it. Now onto the single carriageway section, and yeah, as you can see, conditions are not better. Conditions are a lot worse. We've got standing water puddles and all kinds of fun as we go down here. So that is not going to do good things to range and efficiency. So we are on 262 watt hours per mile in the 26 miles since I left the supercharger, which obviously is now over the 250 threshold, where I'm like, anything below 250 is amazing. But the whole trip, so in both directions, 231 watt hours per mile over 66 miles, which is, considering the conditions, and it's been like this increasingly so the entire trip, right? It started raining about 2 miles after I left home this morning. And it's not great. And I'm staying back from this guy mainly because there's some massive puddles. Just before I switched the camera back on again, I had a truck in front of me and he's just making huge bow waves on some of these. So I don't particularly want to hit a big puddle on a bend, so I'm taking it reasonably steady. Again, I'm doing 50 miles an hour. I'm driving to the conditions. I'm not deliberately going slow. And here's the point. In these kind of conditions, on the previous car, I would be doing 300, 310 watt hours per mile. That's the reality of it. And I'm doing 260 now, 257 in this car. So it is more economical, even under the most trying of conditions. And some of the numbers that I was seeing earlier, I still don't quite understand how on earth I was getting those. I'm going into Aberdeen from the north, having done 30 miles, basically through this. So these kind of conditions and these kind of roads, and then fast dual carriageway, as you saw earlier. And I'm coming in and it's on 198 or something. It's like, what is it doing? And how is it doing it? And how can I do some more of it? So there is an element, another big puddle that I need to avoid. Big puddles, bad for efficiency. But I don't know how this car is as efficient as it is. There is some magic going on here somewhere. I did a few videos in the previous car where I talked about rear-wheel drive versus all-wheel drive and how my all-wheel drive car is rear-wheel drive most of the time. I don't have the ts.la magic box as yet for this car, so I can't tell you what the motor use has been. But today is probably the slipperiest that it's been since I've had this car, and it's only been a week. But at no point as I'm going around these bends on sodden tarmac do I feel like I have got a shortage of traction. There's no problem with grip. So okay, I'm on brand new tyres. They're summer tyres, but they are brand new. That is going to help. But I think this is probably the point where all-wheel drive is just that little bit of extra reassurance, because if nothing else, when the front motor kicks in, it does help pull the front axle through a bend if you get to the point where there's a little bit of slippage or something similar. But yeah, it was one of those decisions where I recommended the rear-wheel drive car as being the one to get for most people, and I'm sure that it is. For me, in the end, there were, I'd say, 3 things that swung it. Number one, familiarity. I've got an all-wheel drive car, so let's order another all-wheel drive car. 2, the reassurance that you get from having all-wheel drive in a Scottish winter. If you don't live in a place that's going to get a Scottish winter, or a winter at all, then maybe you don't need it. There are, I'm sure, plenty of people who are watching my channel from all around the world who get even worse winters than we do, and I know that's true. So all-wheel drive is probably useful for you. But the third reason, and this was actually the thing that really swung it, which is that for whatever reason, on the Juniper, as they've launched it, you have to go all-wheel drive to get the premium interior. The premium interior, in essence, gives you the better sound system and the better materials inside the cabin. And the sound system especially. I like my music, and having a really nice wraparound sound system with really high quality speakers is important to me. And I've actually paid for upgrades like that on previous cars where it's been something that I thought was worth spending the money on. And when I once did that with BMW, I upgraded from their standard sound system, which is awful, or it was back in 2011, to their business sound system, which was better, but still not great. So I have spent my own money on upgrading car audio in the past. And that's ignoring my exploits with my 1992 Mini as my first proper car, where I upgraded the sound system in that as well, which was probably worth doing, but actually, let's be honest, probably not. Anyway, sound is important. The extra speakers and the subwoofer that you get on the all-wheel drive car, I felt was reason enough to go all-wheel drive versus rear-wheel drive. And that was the reason that swung it. The rear-wheel drive car would be more efficient than this. So as crazy as some of these numbers have been that I've had, the rear-wheel drive car is more efficient. It just is. But as I go along here again at 50, 55 miles an hour driving to the conditions, I am 263 watt hours per mile on the trip back and 235 watt hours per mile on the round trip. I'm going to count the round trip because I've gone there and back, and 235 in these conditions is really good. Really, really good. And then when we get back and we park up, and that's going to be the next clip, we are going to have a look at what the return trip has therefore done in terms of the overall range calculation. So I'll have consumed a little bit more on the way back. Let us see what a difference that makes, if any, in terms of how it's calculating my theoretical range from 100% to 0. I think that's been a pretty interesting test. In the real world, in pretty nasty weather, this car will comfortably do 320 miles. And if the rain stops, it'll go further than that, 330, maybe 340, I think is doable in this car. And okay, all of those numbers are lower than the advertised WLTP. Now that is an issue, because I think people see the WLTP and think that it has to be what it can do. And you see new owners who post stuff on Facebook and say, my car isn't doing what the advertised range is, it must be broken. And no, it isn't broken, it's the law that's broken, because they're forcing manufacturers to advertise WLTP, knowing that it's a complete lie. Your petrol and diesel car does not get the advertised fuel efficiency numbers, so why on earth do you think that your EV should get the advertised range numbers? It's all the same thing. It's efficiency equals range. Anyway, this is going to be much better than the previous car, as I've been showing you. So when I go to Bournemouth in a couple of weeks and I take this car rather than the previous trip I did to Bournemouth in the old Model Y, I am expecting some big efficiency savings. And if you want to see that video when I record it and then when I drop it, then make sure that you've subscribed to the channel, hit the bell icon so that you know when that one comes out. It's going to be an interesting test. Let's put it that way. And if you want to see some more interesting content, have a look at my Patreon community as well. Thanks to the patrons who are on board already. And I'm going to be dropping increasing amounts of Patreon only content onto there. So if you want to check that out, make sure that you do so. Have a look at the link below. Any support you can give the channel is really appreciated. And I will see all of you back here or on Patreon very soon on Just Get a Tesla.